Alright, we're going to look at symbols. Again, this is symbolic logic. Statements are going to be represented using letters, and we often use the letters P and Q in our logical statements. We don't have to stick to those two, but they're often used. The negation we were just talking about is symbolized with the tilde. That's just above the tab key on your computers. The tilde is the symbol for negation, and the way we read that is not, such as tilde P would be not P, as in the statement P, the negation of statement P. The conjunction is represented with a wedge. The wedge is the symbol for conjunction, and it's read and. So we would say P and Q. The V is the symbol for disjunction and is read or. So we could say P or Q. You might notice the resemblance if you've seen sets where you've got the intersection and the union. They have similar usage here, where it's in one set or the other. In this case, we're saying it's one statement or the other. So, given some statements, let's write these in symbolic form. P, a panther has a long tail. B, a bobcat can purr. Now, I have no idea if either of these are true or not, but we're going to we're not looking at whether or not they're true, we're just looking at putting them in symbolic form. So, a panther does not have a long tail. How would we write that symbolically? Well, if P is a panther does have a long tail, then not P would be a panther does not have a long tail. Alright, a panther has a long tail and a bobcat can purr. Well, P is a panther has a long tail. Conjunction is the and for the wedge for the and B for a bobcat can purr. A bobcat cannot purr. Now, symbolically, we would say that as not a bobcat can purr. Logic doesn't always make good English, but a bobcat cannot purr would be said not be. Not a bobcat can purr. Bobcat cannot purr, or a panther has a long tail. So that would be not be for a bobcat cannot purr. And the or is the V, and a panther has a long tail, that would be P. So it would be not B or P. In this last statement, let's watch the it is false that. What that means is to negate all of this stuff. And just like in algebra, the way we group a bunch of stuff together is going to be with parentheses. So let's start off with a panther has a long tail, or, so that would be V, a bobcat can purr, P. Now to say it is false that, that's saying not all of this together. So we need to watch our cues. The it is false that means all the stuff coming after it will be in parentheses, and we'll use a negation out front. Conditionals. The arrow is a symbol for conditional, and it is read if then. The statement before the arrow is the antecedent, and the statement after the arrow is a consequent. And it is read if the antecedent, then the consequent. So P goes to Q is actually read if P, then Q. So we put the if in front of the antecedent on the conditional. We also have a biconditional. and sometimes you'll hear it read if and only if, or abbreviated IFF. So we would say P if and only if Q. Sometimes people get confused because the arrow, when we're saying that, we put the if in front of the first letter, if P then Q. On the second statement we put the if in between, P if and only if Q. So given the same two statements, P, a panther has a long tail, and B, a bobcat can purr, write the following statements in symbolic form. If a bobcat cannot purr, then a panther has a long tail. So the if-then statement is going to be replaced with an arrow. The antecedent will be this part. A bobcat cannot purr. Again, we did that with the not be. And the consequent, a panther has a long tail, we get a P. So not be leads to P, or if not be, then P. Our next one, a bobcat can purr if and only if a panther has a long tail. So we've got a bobcat, if and only if, panther. A bobcat can purr if and only if a panther has a long tail. Alright, given the following statements, let's write these in English. Given the statement P, Joe has an iPad, K, Bree has a Kindle, and N, we can watch Netflix. Netflix is a registered trademark of somebody. Alright, write the statements as sentences. Not K. Now again, logic doesn't always sound good in English. This is not Bree has a Kindle. To write that in nice English, we would say Bree does not have a Kindle. Looking at our next statement, P or K. Well, P is Joe has an iPad, or K is Bree has a Kindle. So this is Joe has an iPad, or Bree has a Kindle. And for the next one, P and K, Joe has an iPad, and Bree has a Kindle. Finally, if not P, then K. That's how we start off reading this. Now let's start piecing it together. Not P would be not Joe has an iPad, then Bree has a Kindle. And now we'll clean up the English a little. Instead of that not Joe has an iPad, we'll say if Joe does not have an iPad, then Bree has a Kindle. Some more of these. Let's see. P and K, if P and K, then N. If P or K, then N. If Joe has an iPad, or Bree has a Kindle, then we can watch Netflix. Notice that all of the Joe or Bree is the antecedent. All of that is the if part, and then the consequent is Netflix. Alright, next one's getting pretty complicated. Not, we can watch Netflix. Not N, if and only if, not P and K, not K. Not N, if and only if, not P and not K. So, not, we can watch Netflix. If and only if, not, Joe has an iPad, and not, Bree has a Kindle. Bad English, but that's what this literally says when we translate it. And to put it in nice English, we cannot watch Netflix if and only if Joe doesn't have an iPad and Bree doesn't have a Kindle. And our last one, if K then N and P. Now that comma indicates that this is all together. Without that comma, it would be if K then N and P, which would be K leads to N and P. So we have to again be very careful of the nuances. There's just a little bit of difference that comma makes. So if Bree has a Kindle, then we can watch Netflix, comma, again that makes a big difference, and Joe has an iPad.